start recording.
Okay, YouTubers, here we go. Never buy Tesup. And thank God, they've actually come back at me on Trustpilot again for my review, and they want me to remove it or give them more information. So I did. Until they reply to the lawsuit that's currently in process, they're not going to get anything removed from Trustpilot. And Trustpilot said my review will stay. So that's my little project right here. I'm replacing a gear inside the little snow blower. I got to get up here. I want to get a view of this. Alright, so here we go. Tower that we built back there, the base plate and everything, still the same. You see one guide wire there. If you look off to the left there by the other beehive, there's my other guide wire. So I went all 5 sections up, as you know. So the newest to this project was my weather station. So right there we have a Tempest weather station, which has no moving parts, unlike the last one, and doesn't have to be recharged because it has solar. So we're going to take a close-up look at that first. So let me back it off a little bit there, go a little farther in. So that Tempest is like $300 something, $330. Has a little bird deterrent thing, that's an extra $9, and it's all online. You can find these guys. Has solar going to the far east, far west. So I'm very happy with it. It's got a rain sensor, lightning sensor, temperature, dew point, wet bulb, you name it. It actually, which I really like, the sensors that are built into it. I'll see if I can get down low enough for you to see. There's 4 ultrasonic sensors. You can see all the stuff online with their website. Underneath there, I'll tilt that up. You can see these little bulbs. That's the actual sensors for ultrasonic. Underneath there, well, it's not even getting it crystal clear, is it? So can't do much about that. Right there's a good shot. There we go. So anyway, those little sensors are basically wind direction and speed. Every 3 seconds update to the cell phone via their hub. Very nice feature, so I really do like that. Move that thing back. That was like within inches of the damn thing. So anyway, that's the newest feature for the tower itself. Oh, my owl, since it's moving, it's definitely detecting my drone. So anybody flies up there, it was actually winds up to 40 mile an hour last night, so gust I should say. They're pretty much steady, 10 to 20 and then 40 gust. I put him up there. I put a little solar panel, you know, to him, so he has continuous power to recharge the batteries. Wires going out the back of his head. I used an epoxy to hold him down to that plexiglass, and it actually stayed. So 40 mile an hour gust, he's doing fine. So as far as the wind turbine itself, like I said, this is from Hurricane Wind Power. Tony runs that down there. This is only a 1500 HYE-1500, and does a phenomenal job so far. I have to get a better meter, and any suggestion from you guys would be appreciated for a meter. I have an inverter, and then I have the wires going over to the breaker box. I want to put something in between to see what power it's producing. It's got to measure pretty low voltage, I should say. The one I got from ERK or something like that, I think it's more for a house meter. It does, you know, heavier voltage and amps. It doesn't do the real fine stuff, so I think I'm missing, because it's still at 7.79 kilowatts that it produced since I did this since October, so or whatever, August I think was the last time. So any suggestion on a meter would be great. But last night all the winds, believe it or not, with low pressure system moved up the east coast, so they were out of the southeast. So I'll show you. That's pretty much dead level with the thing. So I'll give you an overall view. I'll do a little span around. I did have music playing to this, but unfortunately YouTube copyrighted me and said I couldn't do it. So that's at the height it is, as you can see. Whoa, losing control of my own drone here. So getting used to these controls. So you can see, as you see, it's not the cleanest wind, because those trees out there are pretty damn tall, you know, compared to being level. So the wind coming through the section there with all the houses is probably levels out a little bit, but not as good as I'd like. I mean, another 40 feet higher would be great, but the township might say something to me about it at that point. Those right there, to give you an idea, I've said in the other videos, those across the street top out at 110 feet. So most of the majority of the winds, thank God, for the winter time, span around to the west here, because everything starts coming out of the west and northwest. So as you can see, a lot better winds for my turbine is basically out of the west. So that is pretty much westbound, and then northwest bound, where the winter winds predominantly roll in from, is all out to there. So that should do pretty good for the actual production. So I'm working with Tony from HYE-1500 fine-tune this thing, get it going, you know, so I'm producing decent power. So far, which the Tempest weather station, which records the data, which is what I needed, that basically tells me, like, hey, you really don't have that strong of winds here. Believe it or not, I'm 7 miles from the coast down that river right there that goes out to the Atlantic Ocean, and 7 miles, believe it or not, the buffer from just going to drag across the surface of the wind and the trees and everything else out here, that, believe it or not, slows the winds down almost 5 to 10 knots. It's a quite amount of buffer, because I can look at the shoreline. Other people have these Tempest weather stations. You can tap on them and see what they're getting. The people out on the coastline, 5 to 10 knots higher winds, you know, being out there by the coast, even closer to the coast, not so much on the coast. And they're getting phenomenal winds. Up here, it dies out, believe it or not. So my average wind, wintertime, is 10 knots to 13. So far, that prediction is coming true, except for the gusts. So last night, we had some phenomenal gusts, you know, like I said, up to 40, 30. And some of the steady winds were in the, you know, 20s for a short period of time. But, you know, for power production, you need some pretty steady winds that I'm learning. So, but that's about it for now, man. It's the Hurricane Wind Power Turbine HYE-1500. Tony set me up. It's a 96 volt system, and like I said, it's a 50. I think that was 56 feet in the air. So, which is pretty high. That telephone pole is at 70 feet, I think it was in the last videos. So a little bit higher, but that's the township's little pole. So that's it. We can get the crank it around here and show you the actual wind turbine. Could have showed you yesterday. It was whipping around all day long. So right now we're in the lull. The front moved through. So, but comes with silver blades. I put the purple tips on them so I could be bird friendly, I guess you could say. So it does kick out of the wind quite often, and I think that's because the winds are squirrely, not so much the tail. It stays pretty stable in the lighter winds. It's not until it gets up to the 15 or 17 excuse me, that I see the thing, you know, squirreling around a little bit. So, but might be some kind of modification, or maybe a dual tail on it or something like that. That is a solid aluminum plate tail, so I could always TIG weld something onto it if I had to. But that's it, man. So as far as the lawsuit with Tesup goes, it's still in the works, and haven't heard back. I just sent another inquiry about, hey, what's my status? They said it was being sent off to the Judiciary Committee or something, Council, to be reviewed. My other cohort in crime over in England, he's also got one, and he's waiting for the court so he can supply paperwork showing what kind of crap they produce and the photos and all that stuff. So keep you posted on that. That'll be the next video. But otherwise, this is probably the last video for this tower, because I'm just going to let it run for the winter, see what kind of production, and see if it's worth even having a wind turbine on the east coast here. Otherwise, all that money, I probably make my wife happy and sell the whole thing at some point, and then just reinvest in solar, because for anybody who knows anything about solar, it's 100%, you know, that basically produces power regardless, cloudy days, whatever, it still produces power. I've got 25 there, and then if I don't hit my house here, show you top, I got top array and lower array, front of the house, back side of the house. You know, that's on a tilt facing there, 10 degrees up from flat. So I think we produce like 19,000 kilowatts in power for the year. So, and this was a 25 panels. The center panels, as you can see, those are 315s. The ones on the left are 327s, and the ones on the right are 335s. They are for sale. That system right there, I'm actually trying to sell in New Jersey here for anybody local or wants to pick them up or anything like that. Pretty cheap. I think I priced that whole thing $4,000, and it comes with 2 inverters. I can basically span around, or actually 4 inverters. There's 2 for each sets of inverters. Let's see if I can get this. Don't bother my neighbor too much. Low, don't drop into the tree. So as you can see on a slight angle, you can see some inverters there underneath there on the wall. So I got disconnects for them, DC disconnects, and 4 inverters for whoever wants to purchase anything like that. But I'll run into my own tower or the guide wire. Let's see here. Step away. So that's it. Never buy Tesup, and give you guys a good view of the area here. This is in New Jersey, Red Bank, New Jersey. I'm right on the river's edge here. So cloudy, overcast, as you know the things. That's our main downtown, our city council. Hate to say what party they are, but they're turning into a shithole. They basically are overbuilding and keep getting grants to put more and more in, and it's just becoming like Jersey City, the shithole that is. Up the people know that is Hoboken, overcrowded, no parking. Then now they're complaining, oh, there's parking, blah blah blah. Yeah, no kidding. You induce it yourself. This is what happens when you overpopulate an area. So anyway, still a nice place to live. You got to put up with all the typical stuff, you know. So, but that's out towards the coastline. That's all down the east coast, down that way. Long Branch, Seabright, Monmouth Breach, way down to Seagirt down there. See some hills out there, way in the little bumps in the hills. That's out to the west, and that's all storms that are coming up this way. I got a small piece of paradise, I call it, down here. So open land, a lot of wildlife comes through here, especially for Jersey. And then we got the marshes. Nothing can be built on this stuff, so which is nice. And then the borough sort of encroaches on that a little bit at a time, but they can't build any permanent structures on there, which I found out, which is nice. So, but all right, we'll end it there with a nice view of the river. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving and enjoy life.